Hi everyone, welcome to the next picture from our page of little border designs from Ivy and the Inky Butterfly by Johanna Basford. Got all these flowers to do today, so I'm going to come in a little closer and we shall have a little look at what we've got. Now there's quite a big mix of different florals with leaves, and I've got my Polychromos pencils again, and what I'm thinking about first is a background. I'm thinking that I would quite like to do green behind, a paler green, and then maybe all our green leaves in the same colour range, and then perhaps lots of different colour flowers. I think that might work quite well. I'm just sharpening up my first green for my background. Again, I'm starting with background first like I did yesterday. This is the May green. It's just one of my favourite greens, so that's why I picked it. And I'm going to just try to layer it up into the background so we can do just one layer, but keeping it fairly, you know, a fairly thick layer. And I want to try and make sure I get into all the nooks and crannies, crooks and grannies, as people say, so that I don't have to do a second layer. And then once I've done that, I can think about the rest. Well, I'm thinking about it as I go, to be honest. I'm going to do the leaves and the flower centres I might do all the same as each other as well, and then just change the colour of the petals maybe, and then we've got a little bit of consistency running through, and I can be a bit lazy and not have to think about too many different colours and pretend I'm doing it so that it ties together. But we'll see, have a think. So I hope everyone's good today. I'm trying to plan what I'm going to do today. I want to go for a little walk soon. Need to get my son and my husband out for some exercise, and myself as well. Fresh air, morning light, all that thing's supposed to be very good for our circadian rhythms, to get morning light into our system. Apparently it helps with sleeping. Even if you don't actually walk, if you just look at some morning light first thing, even if you're just looking out of your window, but better still stick your head out the window or sit in your garden or something, it's supposed to make your brain know it's morning, and then it sort of helps to get your brain ready to sort of for the day, and then when it comes to night time it sort of knows it's night type thing apparently. But also screens don't help us because of the type of light from the screen is similar to daylight apparently. I don't really understand the words, but have all the right words for it, but that's why we can put a night filter on our phone screens, and then if we use them at night it blocks out some of that light, which tricks our brain into thinking it's day. What I tend to do is I do use my phone at night in bed, and I make sure that most of the lights are out in the room so it's dark around me, so I think that helps, and then have a night filter thing on my phone, so it's the colours are a bit off then, but that's okay. And I also am very self-disciplined. It comes from my mum, I think. So after a certain time I will put my phone away, and I tend not to pick it up again. If I wake up in the night, I don't pick my phone up unless I've been awake for sort of half an hour, or I know I'm not going back to sleep because it's so near the morning. This morning I woke up quite early at 5, and I did grab my phone because I wanted to check something which I couldn't check before, so I quickly checked that, and then I was actually quite wide awake anyway by 5, and I could hear, I was listening out because my son reckons he's hearing rats in his bedroom, not in the room, under the floor. But I haven't been hearing any, so I was listening out really hard. I didn't hear anything, but I don't know whether he's just hearing the water, because he took me in his room to listen, and some of the noises were the water pipes running through his bedroom, because we popped down and ran the hot water and went back up. One of us ran the hot water and the other one sat there, and we could hear the noise of the water glugging through the pipes. So part of it is that, but I'm hoping that it isn't the rats in there again. But I'll ask him this morning if he's heard them. And if he has, I'm going to have a check in the little bit eaves and see if the poison's been eaten that I put down a long time ago. And if it is gone, then I might buy some more. Because that's all the pest control man does, is puts poison down. And I can go and buy that from the DIY store. So I've got gloves and things, and I'll be very careful. But I think it would save me a lot of money than keep asking him to come out. Okay, I'm happy with that. With yours, have a look, see if you're happy. You might want to put down a second layer or even a third layer. I might decide to do that myself later, but I'm going to leave that for now. And I'm going to use my earth green yellowish for my leaves. Now this is a really similar colour, this new pencil, to the background. So when I do it, you'll see that it's really, really close. But this is just my base layer here, so I'm not putting this down as intensely as the base. I'm going to add other colours to it after. So this is, as I say, it's just a base layer. But I'm just sort of marking out where all my leaves are. Because like that, is that a petal or a leaf? I'm pretty sure it's a leaf. But I'm just sort of getting that in my head. Working out what's what. And then I'll get my next colour. But it'll be a similar olivey type colour. See, are those leaves? I'm going to do them as petals. I think we can add more colour to the page then if we make most of it. Any that we're not sure about, if we make them petals. There's a lot of leaves on this one, isn't there? In there. That might be background, not leaf. I don't know if it matters, to be honest. Yeah, so when my son gets up, I'll ask him if he heard anything. But as I say, I was listening out this morning. I didn't hear a thing. But then, saying that, when I could hear them in my bedroom, I couldn't always hear them if I was in my bathroom, and I think those should be leaves. I'm going to do them as petals. If you want to do them as leaves, do them as leaves. You don't have to do it exactly the same as me. I am grabbing my chromium green opaque next. Here he is. Now I'm going to use this close to the flowers, close to the petals. So on top here, and then just fading down. You can fade it down as far as you wish. I'm not going all the way to the bottom. And you can see now they begin to stand out from the background, which is the plan. Another cloudy day today, which is quite good. It means I've got my blind open. I find it makes for a bit of a better light on when I'm colouring. I can see better. I'm not really sure if it makes a huge difference to the recording because my camera adjusts to the light, but it makes it easier for me to see. Because if it's dark in here and I've got my lamp on, it shines off the wax or oil from the pencil. Makes it quite hard for me to see what I'm doing. But anyway, one day I'll get a better setup and I'll be able to get it all perfect. Maybe, maybe not. Never mind. Okay, that's all of them. It's not massively neat. These are a bit pale actually. Make these a little bit darker. There we go. Now for the tips, I'm going to do them in a slightly different colour. Yeah, I'm going to use the burnt sienna. So we're going to add a bit of brown here and then fade it in. It's a little bit unusual maybe, but I think it's nice not to always do leaves just green. In fact, I've done a free download on my Ko-fi with different colour combinations for leaves, and some of them have browns and things. I mean, if you're doing autumnal, then browns are great, but it just lifts them a little bit. Now I know this isn't very well blended in. I'm gonna this isn't my last final colour. I have been asked to do a few more, so I may have done them by the time this video goes out with different pencil brands. But I was asked to do them, which I said yes, but I got a bit carried away with doing some buddy colours and things like that and haven't got around to doing it yet. But I will. This is the green gold, and I'm going to use this to mix up all my colours. So I'm going to mainly sort of put it in the middle. I think it's a nice sort of transitional colour between the brown and the green. There we go. They look quite autumnal now. Doesn't matter, we don't know what time of year it is, I don't think. I think there's a reference to the time of year in the Ivy book. By the way, if you don't have Ivy and you're interested in the story, Johanna actually recorded an audio version of the book of her reading the story. I've never listened to it actually, but I'm sure it's lovely. Johanna's got a lovely accent, I think, anyway. And so you can listen to it, or even if you have got the story, you can have a listen. Right, there we go. I'm going to leave that there, but I'm going to keep this green gold in my hand. I'm going to use it for the flower centres, but I'm not going to do the whole of the centre, about half. I'm running a bit late today, just noticed the time. That. And then the Naples yellow for the top half. I often do more than one colour, more than two colours, sorry, but these are quite small, so I feel this is probably about all there is space for, really. Most of them, this one particularly is a bit bigger, but most of them are quite small. There we go. Now, it looks a lot easier now, the colours, with regards to the flowers. You know, what colours are we going to do? Well, there isn't so many. So I'm going to start with a pale orange, I think, this one. This is the cadmium orange. I think I'll just start here. I'm just going to fade towards the tip of the petal. And what I'm going to do is work through my colour, my trays of colour, and just pick randomly and spread the colour through. So hopefully we'll end up with quite a bright and cheery page. So I'm going to go to red next. This red here, it's just a random red, scarlet red. I'm not going to put it next to the orange, I'm going to put it over here, this one here. Okay. Again, trying to fade it towards the tips. Now a pink. Rose carmine. I think I do this one. I'm going to layer it up in the middle first a bit. There we go. And then fade it towards the tip like that. Work my way round. Now, yellow middles is a little bit of a stereotype, but yellow really goes with all colour, so it works quite well. But flowers don't all have yellow middles. Some do. So I have done a video on how I colour flower middles. It was a really early one actually. Light red violet. Just showing you different ways of doing it in different Johanna Basford books. I think it was mainly like World of Flowers. I sort of started doing a few different, experimenting with a few different ideas because there were so many flowers. I found myself just doing the same thing over and over. Purple violet. So I wanted to, you know, change it up a bit. So I tried different things. I also took some inspiration from other people. Delft blue. Yeah, you know, looking at other people's pictures and things. So it was quite good, and then sometimes I just find I end up doing the same old again anyway. But you know, it just makes you remember that you don't have to always do them the same. Sometimes black is quite good middle. Sometimes doing the same colour as the flower itself. Some flowers do look like that, but you know, looking at lots of pictures of flowers, observing flowers when you're out and about, that sort of thing, same as leaves, is really useful. It just helps you helps you remember what to do, sort of thing. Think about different ideas. That isn't the colour I want. There we go. This is the dark flesh, which is the I can never remember, salmon. I'm going to use it far away from that pink. Let's use it here. It's a very different type of pink, but I think it's quite good using several pinks, because flowers, a lot of flowers are pink, aren't they? I think. Although walking along the canal path yesterday, most of the flowers were white. There were a few pink sort of Sicily type things. There are loads of white flowers. I'm going to go to blue. I'm going to use this one. This is the middle phthalo blue. So yeah, there's loads of white flowers. They had the oh, what's it called? Cow parsley has gone over now, but there's like the hogweed, and look, that should have been left. I did that as a leaf. That should have been a petal. How many of you noticed? Well done if you did. Now I'm going to go to manganese violet next. I'm going back to some more down here. Yeah, so there was sort of nettles, white nettles, and daisies. Lovely, big, not just like lawn daisies, common daisy, but the big ones, really pretty. There's some pink flowers too, a few, I don't know what they were called. Dark cadmium orange. We'll go up here, I think, with this one. Yeah, and Before that we had like buttercups and things. It's a lot of white and yellow. I think garden flowers tend to be more colourful than wildflowers, maybe. I don't know. Obviously poppies are really colourful, but not quite the right year for the time of year for the red poppies. I've got yellow poppies in my garden at the moment. I think we call them Californian poppies. I don't know if that's what everyone knows them as. I had a great conversation with my American friend the other day talking about football. Now it's the football on TV at the moment, the European Cup. Now she said to me, do you mean real football or soccer? Now in the UK, soccer is the only type of football we have that is real football in our heads. The football that you play in America with the all the padding and the helmets, we call that American football. The only type of football we play is soccer. Now I was having a look at the origin of the word soccer because it's not a word we use. I'm going to go for magenta, I think. Now in the UK we used to play football as in soccer, call it football, and then rugby was invented by a rugby school and they called it rugby football because someone basically picked up the ball and ran with it, and that developed into what we now know as rugby, but it was called rugby football. So to distinguish between the two, we had association football, which is what might be called soccer, and rugby football. Now eventually with time these got shortened, so rugby football got shortened to rugby, which is what we all know now as rugby, even though in the UK rugby clubs are always called rugby football clubs in their name, RF, rugby football. Anyway, but the other one was called association football and it got shortened to soccer. I don't know how. Association football, I don't know how those words worked and got shortened, but somehow they did. And I'm going to use helioblue reddish. We're going to have to put it here, I think. And so that, but once rugby got shortened to rugby rather than rugby football, soccer went back to being called football again in the UK. But because by then people had gone to America and taken football with them, which was then called soccer, they stuck with the old name, which is often the case. A lot of Americanisms, American words that you use out there that we don't anymore are actually our old names, and we've moved on in our language and you haven't. So it's quite funny to think that you're sort of, sometimes we could say you were a bit more old-fashioned than us because you've got our old words. I think it's quite funny, like magenta. Although the spellings of words is quite interesting, because when your dictionary in America was put together, so I understand, the person who did it wanted the words to not have any superfluous letters in them. So words like behaviour and neighbour and colour, where we have a U and you don't, you just took them out. You didn't need them. Why are they there? Good question. So you just remove them to make them easier, and also to make them you to have your own distinct language from us. So I think fair enough. Right, we have finished. There we go. I think that looks rather cute. I was looking forward to doing that one. So there we go. Got 3 left, but tomorrow's is our little ladybird compass, and then we've got a bird and a shield. So the last few are a little bit bigger. But for now, we are done for today. And we've got our border to do as well. So that'll be interesting. But anyway, thank you for watching today. Hope you have a lovely day and happy colouring.